Hi, all. I'm not sure why this came to mind, but I thought I'd do a story time. Back in my days when I was a single parent, and my sister and I took all four boys to Disneyland. That was quite the adventure. We lived together and outside of Sacramento. We had bought a duplex together after we both got divorced, and she had two boys and I had two boys, and so we lived together but not in the same house. We tried living in the same house and we just had different parenting styles, and four boys was crazy. So we ended up getting a duplex, so we were near each other to help each other, but we each had our own house. So I'm kind of ashamed of this now, being a Christian, but back then I was poor and it was tempting and I gave in to the temptation. But my son worked at McDonald's. He was 16, and they had this contest going where you had these little pull tab things they'd hand out if you bought something, and you could win a bunch of different stuff. The best prize was a ticket to Disneyland. Well, he stole a whole box of these things. That's why this kind of thing happening is why now they put them on the cups when they have these kind of things, so you have to buy something to get it. But they used to just hand them out, and he stole the whole box of them. And shameful as it was, I didn't do anything about it, and we started opening them up. And my sister and I were both poor, single parents, raising two boys each, and we just gave in to the temptation. So we opened all of these things, and we ended up with, if I can remember right, I think we ended up with three free full-price tickets and two half-price tickets. So we only had to pay one full-price ticket. So we decided to go down to Disneyland, and it was the only way we could afford to do it. But the boys were, let's see, mine were 10 and 16 and hers were 15 and 17. So, not little kid people, but older kids. So it's a 7-hour drive from where we were down to Disneyland. So long drive, crammed all in six of us in one car. Or did we take two cars? We might have taken two cars because neither one of us had very big a car. So we might have both drove. And I think we even had walkie-talkies so we could talk to each other on the drive, because you didn't have cell phones back in those days. So we drove down together with the walkie-talkies for safety, and about halfway down, don't remember where, we stopped. It was like a late lunch, like 3 or 4 o'clock, something like that. So we walk into this restaurant. They take one look at us, and the restaurant's almost totally empty. They take one look at us, and they put us all the way around the corner into this back room, back in the back corner. I guess they figured 4 big rowdy boys were going to be trouble, so they stuck us way back in the corner, which was probably not the worst idea they ever had. So let's see, the only shenanigans the boys got up to that I can think of were, do you ever you can put a spoon and have it hang from your nose? So they all were practicing getting the spoon to hang from your nose, because you can do that if you work at it. And then the other thing we always did, when you gotta get a soda, you get the straw, and you take the paper from your straw and you scrunch it down so it's accordion pleated and it's about this big. Then you lay it down on the table, and then you take your straw and you dip it in whatever you're drinking, and then take your finger off the top and let a couple drops drip on that little scrunched down straw paper, and it starts opening up and it looks like a worm crawling across the table. So we all made straw worms to see whose could go the farthest. Other than that, they weren't too rowdy. So we get down to Disneyland, and we'd been there before with the 4 kids, so we know all the tricks of the trade, so to speak. It's ridiculous now. It was costly then, which is why we used those basically stolen tickets. But maybe we had more than that, because I think we went 2 days, so we might have had more stolen tickets than I'm remembering, because we couldn't have afforded to pay I don't know. At the time, I think it was $50 or $60, something like that, which is still pricey, but not as bad as it is now. Now it's ridiculous. So this is back in the day. If you're old, you remember this, but back in the day, they had these packages of tickets that had A, B, C, D, and E, and they were for different levels of rides, and the best rides were the E-tickets, and you only got a certain amount of E-tickets to go on, like, the Jungle Cruise or the Matterhorn or some of the better rides. So we learned the best way to go to Disney is you get there first thing when they very first open, and you run as fast as you can to the better rides, and you try and get in as many of the good rides as you can before it starts getting crowded and the lines are ridiculously long. And we went in the summer because kids were out of school then, so it was not Texas hot, but it was warm enough. So the trick to going to Disney World or Disneyland, we went to Disneyland, not Disney World, because we were in California, is you go first thing, get all your good rides out of the way, and maybe eat lunch there, or maybe not, maybe go off site and eat lunch. But midday you leave, you get, I think they had bracelets they gave you. I don't think they stamped hands. I think they gave you a bracelet. Maybe they stamped hands. I can't remember. We're talking almost 40 years ago. It's a long time ago. Maybe 35 years ago. I was going with the ages of my kids. Yeah, probably about 35 years ago. But anyway, midday you leave and you go back to your hotel and you let the kids swim and you rest for a while and you maybe have dinner off-site so it doesn't cost you as much. And then you go back and watch the parade of lights and the fireworks and all that stuff, the fun evening stuff. And when we'd go back, a lot of people were leaving because they had little kids and the kids were tired. So my kids, being entrepreneurs, so to speak, they would, as people were leaving, they would ask them if they had any leftover e-tickets that they'd be willing to part with. And people that were not coming back the next day, they'd say sure, and they'd give them their ticket book, and they'd get some extra e-tickets that way just to go on the good rides. And my younger son, we still torment him to this day of this. He asked for money for a churro. If you don't know what a churro is, it's like this pastry that they extrude about this big around, about this long, and it gets extruded into hot oil and then rolled in cinnamon and sugar. And so it's this stiff thing about this big with kind of grooves in it from the extruder thing and cinnamon and sugar. And he asked for money to go get one. He comes back and he's got them like this between all those fingers. And he comes back and he swears to this day, I was getting one for everybody, but we still tease him about being churro boy. And he's never lived that down. To this day, if we see churro somewhere, we'll get him one, or we'll send him a picture of it. Or like recently, Subway started they had this giant churro that you could get. So of course I had to send him a picture of the giant churro that he could get at Subway. I mean, we're talking, he was 10 and now he's, let's see, how old is he going to be? He's going to be 38 this year. So, 48. Yeah, 48 this year. So we're talking almost 40 years ago, and we still tease him about being churro boy. So that is my Disneyland single parent adventure story for you. Hope you enjoyed it. I know sometimes you like story times, and being a single parent, you get how hard it is to do anything fun with your kids, but I'm still kind of ashamed of stealing those tickets, but it's still a fun memory. even though we got it in a nefarious way, it's still a fun memory. We went, as the kids were littler, we used to go every couple years. We'd drive down, the 6 of us, and go to Disneyland. And that was one of the last times we went because the older 2 boys were getting ready to start college, or almost. One was going to start and one was behind him. But, you know, they were kind of getting to the age where they didn't want to do family stuff anymore. And they were working, both working, so it got a little harder. Once your kids get teenage or your grandkids get teenage, yeah, good luck seeing them, because they've got their group of friends and they got school and they start working and they just don't have the time to do stuff with the family anymore. So that was one of my last good memories of hanging out with my sister and all the kids. Yeah, it's been a year now since my sister passed. She passed, it was a year in the end of January. It just doesn't seem like it's been a year already since she's been gone. Alrighty. Hope you're having a great day. It's supposed to be 90 something today. I know the boy would like to go for a WALK, maybe, and I went to the doctor, 2 doctors this week, and both of them told me, you really need to get out and start walking. And I know. I even downloaded this app for a while, but he had to pay for it, so I quit doing it. But they've got it on YouTube. I can still find something similar. It's a walking app where you walk inside your house when it's hot and you can't go outside. So there's really no excuse other than I'm lazy. I did take a walk a couple times, not last week, but the week before, but that's it. So I need to get off and I almost was gonna go, I really want to go, but you know how I was doing the water walking in the indoor lazy river? I was doing that like last year a lot. It's a 20-minute drive each way, and my stamina is just not up yet. I used to walk for an hour, and I don't want to get down there, drive all that way, and only last 10 minutes. So I kind of want to wait till I get my stamina up. Hush! Hey! We'll see if this works. Sometimes this works. Come here. Come here. Sometimes he'll come and get a treat. Well, I'll let you go. You don't want to listen to that. Must be a dog out there. Love y'all. Bye-bye.